6 months from now, you could be harder to distract, harder to derail, harder to get access to, more capable, more productive, and a whole lot more resourceful than you are today. And none of that comes from some big life overhaul. It comes from 12 small habits, and I'm going to walk you through them in the order they should be built. The first three are about controlling your environment because everything else is harder if you skip these. Start by curating what you consume because your digital environment is part of your social environment. Find the account or the creator that consistently leaves you feeling insecure, distracted, angry, or behind, and remove it. Whether that means you unfollow, mute, block, leave the group chat, or stop watching altogether. You're doing that because your attention is a resource and you've been giving it away freely to people and content that distort how you see yourself. The point isn't building yourself a bubble, it's about getting deliberate over what gets access to your mind. Subscribe if you haven't, because number two is the one most people skip. So, number two, and this is the one I was just talking about, is catching yourself consuming when you should be creating. Because 6 months of watching other people build a business is a completely different 6 months than building your own. So before you open the video or the article, ask whether you're learning a skill you plan to use or whether you're just consuming, and then turn what you learned into output. Whether that's writing, filming, designing, applying, building, practicing, or publishing. Stop confusing research with progress because producers have work to show for their time while spectators mostly have opinions about what everybody else is doing. And I'm not saying you have to become a content creator. I'm saying become a woman who produces evidence of what she can do. So, number three is remove one source of friction because you've been making your life harder than it needs to be. So, automate the recurring payment and put your keys, your vitamins, and your gym bag where you'll really use them. Delete the app that keeps stealing your time, prepare what you need the night before, fix the workspace you hate sitting in, and replace the item that frustrates you every single day. And you're doing all that because high functioning people aren't always more disciplined than you. A lot of them just redesign their environment better. And every obstacle you remove gives you capacity back for what matters. So the next three are about controlling your access and your own behavior. Number four, stop answering immediately because when you're available on reflex, other people's priorities end up organizing your day. Somebody texts at 9 in the morning with a problem, you answer, and now their problem is what you're thinking about instead of the thing you sat down to do. So quit automatically responding to every text, request, invitation, favor, and call, and give yourself time before you agree to anything so you can ask whether you even want to do it. And this isn't about playing games or pretending to be busy. It's about deciding what your day is about before somebody else decides it for you. 5, have the uncomfortable talk earlier than you want to, because avoidance is how a temporary situation becomes a permanent arrangement. The thing you didn't address in month 1 is the thing that becomes normal by month 6. And now you're not correcting the situation, you're renegotiating an agreement you never made. So ask the question, negotiate the number, clear up the misunderstanding, state the boundary, ask for the opportunity, or tell somebody no while it's still small enough to fix. Number 6 is keep a do something about it list, because thinking about a problem over and over feels like you're dealing with it when you're not. Your brain counts the rehearsing as engagement, so you get the sensation of working on the problem while the problem sits exactly where it was. So write down the complaints you repeat every week, separate what you can control from what you can't, and for whatever you can control, find the smallest action. So if the complaint is your resume, the action is rewrite one section tonight. And if it's your finances, the action is figure out whether the problem is what you're earning or what you're spending. What you're doing is converting a mental loop into a task, and the task can be finished. The next three increase your leverage. So number 7 is leave everything you touch better than you found it, because maintenance can lead to stagnancy. Say you finish a project at work that went well. Maintenance is closing the file and moving to the next one. Improving is writing down what you did and the numbers behind it. So 6 months from now, when you're updating your resume or asking for a raise, you have the receipts instead of trying to remember. And that matters because it eventually becomes automatic, which means you stop needing motivation to improve what's around you. It's just what your hands do. And 6 months of that gives you a home, a workspace, and a routine that looks nothing like where you started, and you've never once sat down and decided to overhaul anything. Number 8 is train yourself to ask how instead of disqualifying yourself. When you catch yourself saying, I can't afford that, change it to, how could I eventually afford it? If your reflex is, I can never do that, ask what you need to learn instead. And anytime you hear yourself say that's not realistic, ask what would have to be true to make it realistic. Then go learn, save, build, earn, network, or research. Because you're assuming your life right now is the permanent ceiling, and abundance isn't pretending everything is available to you today. It's refusing to disqualify yourself before you've looked into the pathway. So, number 9 is make one daily decision that benefits your future position, whether that's sending the email, finishing the application, saving the money, or making the appointment. Learn the skill, handle the administrative task, or prepare for tomorrow. And you're doing it because 6 months is long enough for small decisions to add up to a different resume, a different bank account, a different skill set, a different network, or a different living situation. Stop measuring your decisions only by how they feel today. The last 3 build the woman who has more options. So, number 10 is upgrade one thing you use every day, because your environment should support the woman you're trying to become. So, replace the worn out item you keep tolerating, upgrade something you use around the house every single day, or get rid of clothing that doesn't fit properly. Improve the tools you use to create, exercise, cook, or organize, and fix what's been irritating you for months. And if there's something in your workspace you can improve, do that too. But I want you focused on what stays yours no matter where you're working. And this isn't about luxury or showing off. It's about getting less accustomed to living with broken and inconvenient things when you have the ability to fix them. Number 11 is build a future me file, because your ambition needs somewhere to go. It's one digital folder with your business ideas, career possibilities, skills you want, places you want to travel, things you want to own, screenshots of opportunities, financial goals, certifications, creative projects, and lifestyle ideas. And then you go back through it regularly. And this isn't fantasizing, because you're building a personal database of possibilities. And the clearer you are about what you're looking for, the faster you recognize an opportunity when it shows itself. And the 12th is keeping one promise to yourself, which is the foundation under all of it. Pick one measurable promise, like walking 3 times a week or saving a set amount every payday, and make it realistic. And then keep that promise, because every time you break one to yourself, you learn that your word doesn't mean much, and you carry that lesson into everything else you try. Don't renegotiate the promise with yourself every morning, and don't make it so extreme that failing was always going to happen. Now, I put this last because it's the least flashy one on the list, but a woman who can rely on herself is a woman who's much harder to derail. And look, we're more than halfway through 2026 already. And before you know it, we'll be in 2027. Look how quickly the time flew by. So make the most of the time you have left in this year, and don't wait until the ball drops at midnight before this year is over to decide that you're going to change your life for the better. Do that now, so that way you're already entering into the new year as a completely different woman, or at least an improved woman compared to who you were before. Because what all 12 of these build is the same thing. You end up with more capacity because you stop leaking it into friction and other people's emergencies. You get more capable because you produced instead of consumed, and you become harder to knock off course because you can rely on your own word. None of that requires anybody's permission or attention. That's why it works. Which one of these are you starting with, and what's the thing you've been putting off that you already know needs handling? Tell me about it down below. Share this, like it, and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Take care.